Has there been any major progress in recent years measured by chances of survival in different subpopulations of lung cancer patients?
Yes, I think we have found a few driver mutations in lung cancer, and those are mutations that we have inhibitors for. So in a very select populations, the survival of lung cancer patients are doing very well. For example, one of the subgroup of lung cancer has a ROS1 rearrangement. ROS1 is a tyrosine kinase. It drives the lung cancer pathogenesis, and we have an inhibitor, crizotinib, that can inhibit ROS1. And the progression-free survival we just reported in the New England Journal, it's close to 19 months, which is unheard of in lung cancer treatment. The overall response rate is about 72%, which is also very high. So our job is to find other actionable mutations so that we can have inhibitors and target the specific mutation so that patients can do very well.
Uh, what is the role of molecular diagnostics in lung cancer? How does it help to choose the right treatment in different subpopulations of patients?
So molecular diagnosis is essential and it's critical for in lung cancer treatment. We can use very sophisticated next generation sequencing to find lots of driver mutations. And we are finding more and more kinase fusions in lung cancer that are shared actually in a lot with colon cancer and breast cancer. And some of them we have a lot of inhibitors in clinical development. So it's critical that we have that compendium diagnostic is extremely important in lung cancer treatment.
L, sorry. One subpopulation is called ALK positive patients. What is special about this group and what kind of treatment do they require?
So ALK rearranged lung cancer was reported in 2007, and there is an inhibitor, crizotinib, which has been approved in more than 60 countries in the world that can treat this ALK rearranged lung cancer. This is the first success story of treating a kinase fusion in lung cancer. And in the same year, as I mentioned before, ROS1 rearranged lung cancer was also described. And crizotinib also can inhibit ROS1 lung cancer. And it actually has a response rate of, as I mentioned, 72% and progression-free survival of 19.2 months. So it's critical that we find these patients, and there are now close to at least 9 ALK inhibitors. Some of them are approved, some of them are clinical development to target this rearrangement. And it's also important that ALK rearrangement is also found in colon cancer, it's found in lymphoma, and potentially it's found in other tumor types. And these patients will also benefit from ALK inhibitors, even though it's not approved for other tumor types except lung cancer at this point.
What is the future of lung cancer treatment? What are the hopes? What can we expect in the years to come?
So the lung cancer treatment in the future will be driven by molecular diagnostics. We have to find those very rare molecular subtypes of patients. Like I mentioned, ROS1 lung cancer is about less than 2%. There are TRAC rearranged lung cancer, which is probably going to be about 1%. So in the future, we're going to be going into very small subgroup of lung cancer, and the diagnostic will be able to give us all this rearrangement in one diagnostic setting. And we will have to develop inhibitors to inhibit them specifically according to the mutations. So the challenge will be to find these patients, number one. Number two, to develop a compendium diagnostic that is cheap enough, but it's also sensitive enough to detect all these mutations. And number three, we have to have clinical trials that can enroll all these patients. That will require global effort. And number four, we'll have to have the regulatory authorities to approve the compendium diagnostic, the compounds. And I think number five is we'll have to be able to be cost effective because we're treating a very select population of lung cancer patients. And so the key is to test and to enroll patients in the clinical trial, and hopefully with collaboration with government authorities, we can get all these inhibitors approved so that either government insurance or private insurance will pay for both the testing and the compounds in the future.